I know we have a legal representation for the church, but are there any members of the church in the audience? Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Did you participate in any of the conversations with the Tower Club?
Yes.
Are you able to summarize those conversations at all? If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, first of all, I was not sworn in, I did not stand up during your swearing.
That's fine.
You may be,
We asked
if
you
you
a
wish.
question, give us your name and promise.
Yeah, would you agree to be sworn in before you give your?
I will agree to be sworn in.
Okay.
And again, let's restate my comment. If you do not feel comfortable doing this, I understand.
Yeah, there's no obligation for you to be sworn in. I would object, as would the other attorneys, because you're wishing to provide testimony as evidence. But if you agree, I just don't want you to feel that you're compelled to do so.
I will agree, I mean, that's,
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
once you find out where I stand, you'll understand.
Okay, raise your right hand. I state your name.
Lester Brumbaugh, Jr.,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that the testimony
that the testimony
I shall give is the truth,
that I shall give is the truth,
the whole truth and nothing but the truth,
the whole truth, nothing but the truth,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you.
My name is Lester Brumbaugh. I am the chairperson of the trustees. I am the signature that they need on their documents. So, and I did talk with, get your name? Mike Picture several times prior to this last rendition, which I have not even seen. I did see a letter today, really wasn't happy about that, but I'm going to talk about that. We had several meetings that we walked around the property, did we not? And we had basically 3 locations on the property that we were looking at. One by the fence up there by the ball, behind the ball field, another one in another area by the parking lot, and in this location. What the biggest concern that we had is we did draw circles on a map. I don't have it here, but I wish I did. Our architect supplied it of the 150 feet. The tower was 150 feet. Is that correct?
Please just address the commission,
Okay.
sir.
And where the tower would be as far as an X on the map away from the structure that will be built. And then that did put the tower to 290 feet in our property and 10 feet over in the other person's property. And I understand that that's why they lowered the tower 10 feet, was to draw it back onto our property so that that was not an issue. None of this, as far as this last thing, is lowering the tower, the 10 feet, or moving the tower within that location, was ever brought to my attention or the trustees of the church that I know of. I mean, and I was just contacted one of our pastors, or in charge of this at the church, and I talked to him yesterday, and he did not tell me that we were in contact with any drawings or anything of this nature on this procedure.
As a trustee of the church, other than an attorney, did you seek out the counsel of any other special advisors that have expertise on cell towers?
No, only our attorney.
Would you characterize the membership of Faith Friends to be a sophisticated landlord in this capacity? Would you characterize the members or the trustees of Faith Friends Church as sophisticated enough to enter into this contract and know what they were getting themselves into?
I'll object to the legal definition of sophisticated church members and their authority to enter into that agreement. Yes.
There is a wide range, I guess, of expertise on the trustees. So I guess we felt that was significant.
Are there any members of the church that are residents of the city of North Canton?
I'm sure there is, I don't.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming here today and testifying. As a follow-up question, you understand that the first application, there was a location of the tower, correct?
Correct.
And that was kind of in the middle of the leased premises.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's why the premises was actually put there, was to go around the town, you know.
And these were concerns that you addressed with the tower company before the first application was submitted.
Correct.
And you stated that no representative of the tower company approached First Friends or you personally with regards to the second application.
No, have not seen it.
And is it your understanding that the difference is there's the location of the tower is moved 10 feet?
Correct.
Has anyone at First Friends given Tower Co. written permission to submit that second application?
No, that would have taken my signature, and I did not sign anything.
Under the specific terms of the lease, and we've heard from Mr. Fox about the importance of property rights in this case, and the exercise of those property rights. And we have a contract which spells out Tower Co.'s rights in this case, or part of the case. And that specific language in the lease, those specific rights, it states that lessee's rights, Tower Co.'s rights, herein should be subject to obtaining lessor's, First Friends, prior written consent upon the location of the premises, the leased premises, or of the improvements, which includes that tower. So did they fulfill their lease requirements and get written approval from First Friends?
They did for the first, but no, we know nothing about this one here.
Does First Friends agree and give Tower Co. authority to submit the second application?
We have not had the opportunity to address that, I guess.
And so at this time, First Friends does not agree to this submission of the application, correct?
Correct.
No further question.
It's never been addressed to us, so we can, I guess we can agree or disagree.
Go ahead,
Mr. Rumbaugh, why did the church enter into a lease? Tell me the reason why.
If you know.
That's a hard question for me to answer.
That's a basic question, sir.
I understand that. My position at the church, yeah, works in that. The basic was basically somewhat to help fund some of the programs within the church. The church never realized that it was going to be such a disagreement with this. If we did, believe you me, we would have never signed anything. This would have never happened. I would have never signed it.
So now you're putting that responsibility of your decision on this committee.
Yes, and I apologize.
I believe the closing council has.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Brumbaugh, right?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what we marked as Exhibit 19. Take a look at it if you would, please. I think you'll find it's a copy of the lease that we've all heard about.
Yes.
That's what it is, right? right?
Correct.
And for the mic, thank you. Thank you. And sir, a portion of paragraph 6E was read to you earlier, right?
Correct.
But only a portion of it was read to you, correct?
Correct.
The portion that says that a site plan would be submitted to the church for a written consent was read to you, correct?
Correct.
Actually, the provision, and by the way, this contract that we're talking about, the church had legal counsel involved in the negotiation of this contract, correct?
Correct.
And the consideration, the money that's required to be paid to date under this contract has been paid to the church and accepted by the church, correct?
That I know, the only money I know that has been given to the church is for legal fees and that.
Whatever money is required by that lease has been paid by Tower Care Investment.
Object, requesting a legal conclusion.
It's a legal conclusion on whether or not you've been paid money for the lease?
Whether or not the full consideration of this lease has been satisfied is a legal conclusion. Yes.
The church has received money under the terms of the lease, correct?
Correct. For legal counsel, and that was was $10,000, I recall, right, or something like that, that you would allocate for legal fees.
The lease in paragraph 6E has some other language that includes the fact that this written consent from the church for this proposal shall, quote, not be unreasonably withheld, delayed, or conditioned upon additional compensation, correct?
Correct.
And it also has an interesting clause in it about timing of submitting the site plan for approval by the church. It provides that the lessee shall provide lessor with a site drawing for lessor's approval prior to construction of any improvements, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't say that a site plan or anything has to be submitted prior to seeking governmental approval of a conditional use.
I'll object. It does not say site plan, it says site drawing.
Site drawing. Site plan, site drawing, the specific word, okay, let's correct it, is site drawing. The site drawing is to be submitted to the church for consent, but it's prior to construction, right?
You said.
I don't say that. The lease document says that, correct? That's what it says, right? So when we heard Mr. Moore, who, by the way, was the lawyer for the church in negotiating the lease, right? When we heard him...
Sir, I apologize.
The verbal response.
Because you're being recorded, you'll need a verbal response. No one will know if you
Okay.
nod or shake your head.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
When we heard Mr. Moore talking about not seeking prior approval, there hasn't been any construction conducted on the site today, has there?
No.
That's all.
Just a few follow-up questions. So he points to site drawings have to be approved prior to construction, correct? That was what he was requesting. But the provision that we were talking about, we weren't talking about site drawings. We were actually talking about the location of the leased premises, which didn't change, but also the improvements on that leased premises, which did change. And in that part of that lease, there's no timing requirement. But there's a requirement that they have to have First Friends written approval, which they did not receive, correct?
Correct.
And I'm glad that you brought up other language in that provision, because there's an important sentence in that provision that says, lessee, Tower Code, agrees that lessee shall use its best efforts to minimize the impact upon lessor's property. Best efforts. Now, you stated that. They didn't even pick up the phone and call First Friends and say, hey, we changed the location of Tower. I just thought you would want to know.
Yes, we
So
did.
that's not even best efforts, that's just the minimal effort, correct?
Correct.
So would you agree with me that they did not use their best efforts? They didn't use their minimum efforts, correct?
Correct. We did not see any effort to contact us on this last one.
Okay. And just one final question. He talks about the lessor's prior written consent, First Friends' prior written consent. It can't be unreasonably withheld.
Correct.
Did First Friends even have the opportunity to reasonably or unreasonably withheld their consent?
No, we
Thank you.
have not had an opportunity.
I don't have any further questions